Today, I'm going to be sharing with you how to restore a rusted cast iron skillet. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Melissa Diane, and today we're out in the outdoor kitchen because I'm afraid our project might get a little bit messy. And I have this cast iron skillet. I'll tell you a little bit more about this later, but the goal today is to take this skillet, and it has rust in it, and get this completely cleaned up and then seasoned and all ready to go. So we're going to go ahead now and jump into all of the things that we're going to be using for our project. Now, before actually getting everything together, I went online and I spent quite a bit of time researching the best way to actually get all this rust off of a cast iron skillet. And y'all, let me tell you, if you haven't done that, there are so many different ways and different views and versions of how to do this. So what I did was I took the one that was the most prevalent, got that information together, and that's what we're doing today. That all being said, as I'm going through this, if you've got some other ideas and comments, please leave those below. I'm going to be using a cookie sheet today, and the purpose for this is that I think this is going to work the best. I saw several people do this, put your cast iron skillet on here, and that just does help keep down the mess a little bit. You're going to need some paper towels, and then you are going to need some baking soda, a bowl to make up a little paste, a spoon. You want to be close to a water source, and then we are going to be using some vinegar. Now, vinegar is something that I have learned. This is something you normally do not want to put on your cast iron skillets because it will take all your seasoning off, but that's our purpose today, is to get all of this old seasoning and all of this rust off. So the first thing we're going to do is I think we're just going to go ahead and make our paste. So I'm going to take this baking soda, and I'm going to go ahead and dump some in our bowl. So here we go. Let's put some baking soda in here. A bit more in there. And we'll start with that and see how that does. I'm going to put a little bit of water. Let me reach over here. And we'll get just a little water. And I'm going to stir this up and get our paste going. I think I do need some more baking soda. I'm going to put a little bit more in here. Let's just stir this together. And you want to have a paste, but yet it does need to be liquidy enough to spread around really good in your pan. I think I'm going to start with this and see how this does. And we're going to start with the bottom of this skillet. So we're going to turn this little guy over, and we're going to start on this back side. We're going to get a paper towel, and we're just going to start blobbing this paste here onto the bottom of our cast iron skillet. Just pour it on there like this. And like I said, I went on and I watched so many different versions of the best way to do this. And so I'm just going to take this and now I'm going to start scrubbing. There are suggestions to scrub with paper towels, and then to scrub, some of them said to scrub with like a little wire bristle thing. There was all different types of suggestions. So I decided, since I had paper towels readily available, we're just going to start with the paper towels. And I can already tell I'm going to need more. So I've just put a little bit more on here. Put a little more liquid, and I'm just going to scrub and scrub. And y'all, it's amazing how much of this is coming off. I'm actually really surprised. So we're just going to, we want to also in a second, we're going to go all the way around the sides, and we're just going to keep putting this on. Put this all over and just rub and rub. So I've got a little more here. I'm going to scrub and scrub. I'm going to put a little more liquid on it. And y'all, this pan, this cast iron skillet, Jay had found this. He had an old storage shed, and he was cleaning that shed out and bringing a lot of stuff out here to the property. And he found this skillet that he had had years and years ago. So this has been in storage for about 20 years. So no telling how old this thing is, and no telling when the last time was that it was actually used. And what I did do, I went in the house and I did get me another little scrubber because I want to try the paper towel method. A lot of people had done that. A lot of them had used this little scrubber, so we're going to do a little bit of both. And then I did go get an old toothbrush because I wanted to get in here to these letters and really scrub into these letters really, really good. And get some of this paste and get in there and get the rust out of those. I really have been surprised at how well this is coming off. So I think I'm going to scrub a little bit more here on this back side. It's looking so much better. And then I'm just going to go around. I'm kind of glad, I really am glad I put it in this cookie sheet because now I can just twist it around in this sheet. But I'm going to start putting some here on the sides, going down the sides, and I think I'm going to scrub all along here. And let me scrub on this for just a little bit, and then I'm going to be back and I'll tell you how we're doing and about how much time that it took. I just want to give you a quick update. This is looking really good. I did go ahead and decide to use a little bit of a scrubber. And when I went around, y'all, and I put this baking soda mixture all around the sides, you'll be shocked at how well this baking soda takes off this rust. I put it all around the edges, and I let it just kind of trickle down and soak, and it has worked extremely well. The reaction of that baking soda just really does take off that rust. So we're doing really good. But I will tell you this, you know, when you go on to most videos on YouTube, they show people doing this, because I watched several of them, and they make it look just, oh, super easy. Y'all, this is some work. You know, it's not quite as easy as all those videos show you. So everything I show you is very real. And so this does work, but it does take some time. I've been scrubbing for about 5 minutes, and I'm just going to keep going all the way around, and I can tell a big difference. But definitely, y'all, you've got to put this on a cookie sheet or something like that, because if you don't, you're going to have a huge mess. So while I'm gone, I'm just going to be scrubbing all around the edges of this really, really good, and then I'll be back. Okay, so really quick, let me show you what I'm learning as I do this. If you will take that baking soda paste, go around and put it on your the edges, and I just took it and like with my fingers, I just kind of patted it all on. If you will do that and let it sit only for just like a minute or two, oh y'all, that it comes off so much quicker and so much easier. So put it on, let it sit for just a couple of minutes. So it's working really well. Okay, so let me show you where we are now. I haven't washed it, but we have gotten the back side done, and we've gotten all over the edges, and so we're looking much better. And so now, and I went and I just rinsed my cookie sheet off. Actually, I went and got a water hose and rinsed off that cookie sheet because I just did not want to put any of that down my outdoor kitchen sink. And so now what I'm going to do is put this paste all here in the middle, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to put some more baking soda in here to make some more paste. And we're just going to rub this all over the inside, just like we did on the outside. And I can start for a second here with a paper towel, but I will tell you what, I really do like using that little bitty scrubber, but I was going to use this to kind of help go ahead and get this all over all of the edges so that it can start soaking. It's just amazing how easy actually this rust comes off. Still scrubbing. Now let me tell you something. Be sure that you get baking soda, because I had my baking soda and I ran in a while ago when I was grabbing a towel, and I said I need to grab another one because I had run out. I didn't have very much in my first one, and I picked up the baking powder, and I was wondering a while ago when I poured it in here, I thought, it looks a little different. Well, duh, It wasn't baking soda. So be sure you pick up your baking soda. So I'm just going to continue to scrub. I'll put a little liquid in here with this. And this is doing extremely well, getting all of this rust off. Really happy with how it's going. Now I think we have been scrubbing on this. We've been working on this now for probably about 20 minutes. And I did the handle also, okay. And I think we've got majority of this rust removed. It may not be perfect, but I think it's pretty good for a first try at doing something like this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm pouring a little vinegar in here, and then there we go. We're going to brush this all around. Ooh, look at that, it's bubbling. Okay, we're going to put this all around, and then we're also going to do it on the back side. And I went into the house a few minutes ago, and I did preheat the oven. I preheated it to 500, so it's going to be super hot. And I think what I'm planning on doing, when we put it in the oven, everything I read said to put this in upside down, and you can either put it in just on the rack, or you can put it on a cookie sheet. And I think what I'm going to do is actually turn this upside down, and I think I may put it on the cookie sheet. I'll have to wait till I get in there and look at it. We're just going to have to be super, super careful because it is going to be so hot. I'm going to just rub this all over and on the handle real good. And then we're going to turn it over and do this on the back side. And like I said, I've gotten the majority off. I think if I was stronger, I probably would have done better. I have really weak wrists, and so probably not able to scrub quite as hard as some of y'all. But I'm really pleased with how this is turning out so far. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and turn this over. Here we go. And we're going to take some of this vinegar and put on the back side. There we go. Get the whole back side done. Push some over the edges here. This is looking nice. Okay, so I'm going to put just a little more. I'm going to turn this just a little, put just a little more vinegar on here. And y'all, I did have a revelation, which I probably should have had much earlier. Let me put this over here and let it go down the side. Because as I was doing this, it started to kind of smoke a little. And I'm like, okay, so I probably should have put on some of those big rubber gloves to do this, but I didn't. And my hands are fine. Nothing's been burning or anything, but when I saw that smoke, I thought, oh my. So before you do it, please put on some gloves. But I've been really impressed because all these little letters, I don't know if you can see or not, but all these little letters in here, they were just so full of rust. And it was just so caked in there, and it's all out. And the Skillet is just taking on a whole different look, a whole different hue. It's a nice, pretty gray. And I am putting this on the handle and on the sides of the handle. So let's flip it back over now and see if there's anything left on the inside that we may want to do a little bit more. So let's see. Put some more vinegar in here. And let's just double check. Okay, we're doing good. And then I'm going to go back to the water hose and rinse this off. And then I will be back and we'll get this little guy ready to go into the oven. And before we go into the oven, we're going to have to go ahead and season it. Let's see, let me scoot this up a little bit so you can see it. So now I am all done. I've washed this off and I'm drying it. I want to dry it good. And there's some little areas in here. I don't know if you can see them. I'll kind of tilt it. You see, there's a couple of areas that I thought, oh no, there's still some rust. But y'all, I have scrubbed and scrubbed on there. Nothing else will come off. And when I take my paper towel, this paper towel is coming up clean. So I just think that maybe that's layers of seasoning or something. Like I said earlier, I don't know exactly how old this skillet is. I just know that it's been stuck away in storage for 20 years. So I have now dried it, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take just a little bit of olive oil, and we are just going to season this. You can use any kind of oil you want. I was wondering what kind of oil to use, but I tell you what, I have seen everything when I was doing my research, from just what I'm using here, just some olive oil to coconut oil to flaxseed oil to you name it, Crisco. So I don't think you can go wrong. Whatever you have in your cupboard, I think, in your pantry, I think will work just fine. So just put a thin layer. You don't want it to pool, you know, and have a puddle. Just a thin layer all over, because everything I'm reading suggests that you put it on 500. I've seen everywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. I'm going to go in there and stick it for 20 minutes, because then we're going to pull it back out, put another layer on of this, and we're going to do that probably about 3 times. And then you can always do it again the next day if you want to do some. But I'm going to just rub all around the inside, and then let's flip this little guy over, and we'll put just a little bit of this on the back side. Just a thin layer. Oops, I got more than I wanted. Get a paper towel here, and we're just going to rub this thin layer all over, because you don't want it to be dripping all in the oven. That's why I think I'm going to go ahead and do the put it upside down, but put it in there on a cookie sheet like I saw several people suggest. Okay, so we got our pan, and we're now headed inside. I just have to show you something. These kids have been sitting here. Here's Heidi. She wants to say hello. Heidi, can you say hi? There comes Ace. They've been sitting here this whole time wanting to say hello. So now let's grab this and let's go on into the kitchen. Okay, here we are. I've got the oven open, and y'all be very careful because this is so hot. And I have this upside down on the cookie tray. I'm going to slide this in. We're going to close this up, and we're going to put this on for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then we'll be back. Real quick, I just wanted to show you, I turned the light on so we can see that little guy in there. If you do not put this on a cookie sheet, then put you a piece of foil in the bottom of your oven. Okay, now we are beeping. I actually left this in here about 40 minutes. I got busy filming something else out in the outdoor kitchen, so let's take this out. Okay, y'all, I just took this out of the oven, and oh my gosh, it's looking so good. Look at this. I am really impressed. Let me see if I can turn it over just a second. Okay, here we are. I have turned this over, and we are going to let this sit. Let me kind of turn over here so you can see this area. Okay, so this little guy is looking good. It is cooling down a little bit, and it has gotten late here tonight. I think what I'm going to do is let this cool down completely, and then tomorrow I'm going to season it 2 more times and heat it 2 more times, and I'll let you see how that does. Okay, so now this morning, I let this sit overnight after I'd put 1 seasoning on it and let it go in the oven for it was in there about 40 minutes on 500. And this morning, the back side just looks wonderful. This side here on the inside, what I did was I took a paper towel, and let me show you. I took a paper towel and I rubbed it, all over, and nothing comes off. It's just completely clean. Well, I had one little section you can see over here where I have some more baking soda, and there was a little brown section. And I thought I had all that rust off, because last night before I seasoned it the first time, nothing was coming off. It was a little darker area, but this morning there was a little brown area there, and when I rubbed my paper towel over it, some brown did come off. So I thought, darn, what do I do? So I've taken some more baking soda over here. I'm just putting a blob of it here, and I'm going to let this sit for a while, and I'm going to come back and see what it looks like. I may have to put a little more vinegar on that area. All right, so now what I have done is, you can see this little area right up here that's the area that I had put the baking soda back on and let it sit for about 30 minutes. And y'all, when I came back, I should have filmed it, but that baking soda, all the edges, it had all turned brown, and it had kind of, a lot of the white had turned kind of a reddish brown, like it was soaking up. There was some rust still there. And anyway, so I just wiped it really well with a paper towel. I did not put any more vinegar on there because I didn't want to take all of this off that I'd already put on. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put just a little bit of oil on here. I've preheated the oven again for 500, and I'm just going to put a little bit of this all over, and I'm going to put it on the sides and on the bottom. I'm just going to wipe it down really good again, and we're going to go ahead and put this back in the oven for just a little while, probably 30 or 40 minutes on 500, and see how we do and see what this looks like after that. But I don't have any more of that brown coming up, so it may never ever look completely even for a while until we use it and re-season it, but at least I think that spot now, all of the rust finally is removed. Look here, y'all, it's looking really nice. It's been in here for about another 40 minutes, and we're gonna take it out and take a peek. Okay, now we have this out of the oven. We're gonna let this cool. Now last night I seasoned this 2 more times. I wiped oil all over it, and then I did put it back in the oven each time for about 40 minutes on 500. And now y'all, I let it just sit overnight, you know, to cool, and you're not gonna believe how well this has turned out. It has turned out so nice. Look at the back side of this. This turned out so pretty. It looks almost it looks new on the back side. And then on the inside, look at this. Hopefully you can get a good view of this. I'll kind of get it up close there for you. This just turned out fantastic. I can't wait to use it. Now be sure and check out that next video that's popping up, and I'll see you over there in a few minutes. Bye-bye.